Haven't heard from him.
Well, we can get started. Okay, welcome to the Town of Colorado City Planning and Zoning meeting on this day, May 4th, 2026. Will you give us a roll call, please, Vance?
Charles Bradshaw,
Present.
Carl Pavlonis,
Present.
Lee Highsteed,
Present.
Royal Barlow,
Present.
Mike Bradshaw.
Present.
All
Have
are
a-
present.
We have a full quorum. Thank you all for participating today. And thank you all to the public who has shown up for this meeting. With that, we will have a word of prayer. Anybody from the audience or any of us would like to volunteer to say a word of prayer, please? If not, then I will offer a word of prayer. Our Father in heaven, as we approach you this time in this meeting that has been appointed by the city, we pray that you will bless us with your spirit to guide and direct us in the things that we try to accomplish this day, that we can do it in a way that is helpful to our community, helpful to the citizens, helpful to the beautification of our land. We pray that all that we do can be for the betterment of each other and to thy service. And we ask and pray for these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. Our next item on the agenda are minutes. I had a chance to look over them. I did not see anything I needed to adjust.
Nor did I. Scanned them.
Anybody else? Good. We will entertain a motion then for approval. I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes of April, what is it?
6.
April 6, 2026 for
This
the
says
planning
April 4th. Oh, no, never mind.
and zoning.
I'll second.
So we have a first by Commissioner Bradshaw, second by Commissioner Seed. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Okay, next item is public comment. Is there anyone here from the public that has anything to address to this commission that is not pertaining to the particular items on the agenda? And it does not look like we have anybody, so we will move on to item number 6, and we will close this meeting at 5:03 and open the public hearing. And we will start with zoning map amendment parcel 404-53482 from 48 and 483B from RE1A residential to R120 to RM multifamily residential. And do we have someone here representing this property? Okay. You have anything on public comments or public?
We have not received any written comments
Okay.
on this.
Okay.
This is if you want me to introduce.
Yes,
what it
please.
is. This is down on Mojave Avenue, directly across from the Mojave Townhomes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the lot with the log cabin that's about to fall over on it.
Yep.
Then it goes behind, and then there's another zoning that'll come up a little bit later that will
Yeah.
give another half of acre to it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a zigzaggy shaped process there, but the rezoning question here is that 1 acre and a half acre.
You guys understand where it is?
Oh, I drove by it.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Any questions for
Thomas.
William LeBaron?
You can do that in the discussion part too.
Yeah, we can do that and then.
I would save it for the discussion part if you have questions for the developer.
Okay. I don't have anything to talk about right now, so we will move on to letter B. Zoning map amendment parcel 40420-38038 from R120 single family to R18 single family. Please introduce this
Okay,
one.
this is the one on Hilldale Street that was pulled from the agenda last month because of an incorrect posting.
Okay,
And it's been reposted with correct information, and it's now ready. So,
okay. Anybody that would like to talk about this one particular? Okay,
I'm not in favor of it.
will you come to the podium and state your name?
I'm Matthew Barlow. I'm not in favor of too small of lots, and R1A is too small in my opinion. I have real estate there. It does bring in a lot more, smaller residents bring in a lot more crime. I've seen it. It's not right away, but it's usually a year, 2 years, and I have huge concerns with that. I'd rather it be R12. But that's my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? And did you receive anything on this one?
we did not receive any written since the last meeting.
Okay. Item C, parcel 40453-484 from RE1A to R12. Anybody from the public that would like to comment on this one?
And this one is on Richard Street, so it abuts the first one that was up, and it's basically rezoning so they can shrink the one lot down to a more manageable size with the existing home. And then the back half, the south half of the lot would become part of this multifamily development.
Okay. Okay, nobody wants to comment now,
Receive any written comments on
No
this
written
one.
comment on that. Very good. We will close the public hearing then at 5:07 and reopen the regular meeting. We'll go into item number 7. Zoning map amendment for 404-53482 and 483B from RE1A and R120 to RM multifamily residential. This is where we can discuss this if you have any discussions for Mr. LeBaron.
I have quite a few.
Okay. Will you please state your name?
William LeBaron.
So my first question on this, and I saw kind of the read-up, these are for sale units, is that
Correct.
correct?
Yes.
So these are for sale, attached,
Attached, single family.
5
4 and
unit,
5.
4 and 5
fiveplex.
units?
Yes.
Okay. So, I mean, I appreciate what you're trying to accomplish, and the size makes sense. It's too tight for this. I don't know what else to say. I mean, how do you have a drive aisle that's 26 feet wide that your mirrors scrape the walls and the fence and the backyard fences? I'm super concerned about that. And then how do people actually navigate through this when there's cars parked on those side yard parking stalls? There's no way to get through. There's not enough room. So basically, if you turn that corner, you've got to back all the way back around and out. And that seems incredibly dangerous.
You're talking about the parking structure in the center between the two segments, right?
Yes.
Okay.
There's 3 parking stalls and there's 2 parking stalls.
Yes.
Is what it looks like.
So this is a preliminary concept. We haven't finalized the
Well,
the
I
layout
understand you
design.
haven't finalized it, but this this doesn't work. The other thing that doesn't work, 20 feet from face of building to curb to drive aisle, I know that doesn't work because I have cars that are longer than 20 feet. And every single person who's going to be living here, well, not every, so I'll retract that. There will be a lot of laborers that live here with big trucks.
Yes.
There's no place to park that. That is not, that isn't big enough. And in fact, today, St. George requires 25 feet setbacks because of that, because every single car is bigger than it used to be.
Right.
So I am major concerned about that. Who maintains the landscape tracks that are on here? Are you gonna have an HOA? You'll have to.
Yes, we'll have an HOA.
So to me, that kind of takes it outside of the realm of a USDA a good loan, because now you've got $150 a month HOA, because you're gonna have to pay for garbage, which I think is a very terrible idea on for sale units.
To pay for garbage or to have an HOA?
No, have an HOA is fine.
Okay.
But to have garbage as a separate entity on the for sale units, I think is a very dangerous thing. Because who pays it? Who maintains it? I mean, the HOA does, but I mean, I'm really very concerned about this. And then you have a 20-foot drive aisle off of a roadway. I don't even think that's legal. I could be wrong, but if it's off of a roadway, it should be at least 26. Or, I mean, again, I'm going from my experience in St. George. If it's off of a major road, or even if it's a minor road, they maintain 28 between the lip of curb, not even the actual back of curb. So to come in here with a 20-foot concerns me a lot.
So some of this was, I mean, this is preliminary, but some of this was matching what was approved on Mojave with the Mojave townhomes. So
I don't think it is at all. I mean, when I look at the Mojave townhomes, they have a ton of landscaping. They have massive driveways. The parking, I agree that the parking is 20, but it's to the sidewalk, not to the drive aisle. I mean, and interesting enough, I did drive by there, and people are parking their cars over the sidewalk. So I know they're going to park over the driveway, the drive aisle. So I am major concerned about this site working for what you're trying to accomplish. I don't necessarily have a problem as long as the neighbors don't, because we do have them across the street, but I am very concerned about this site. To get this much density in there, I don't think it works. And based on that, I don't want to approve it, because I don't think it works. And I'd like to see how it works before it works. The other thing, and I don't know if the city has this, and I wish they did, but you're planning on putting in 28 units with no amenity. I mean, it's a multifamily development. It should have its own maintained amenity. Again, in my opinion, because
Right.
because what do the children do here besides go play on these roads that you can't move past anyway? I'm concerned. I'm
Right.
major concerned.
So the 28 is just, again, preliminary. We expect if we land somewhere in that area. We're in the process of negotiating on the parcel next door. And if we can make that happen, that will shift this plan and give it a little bit more room. But that having not been accomplished yet, we're trying to proceed with this. A small aspect is we've projected all of these to be 35-foot depth, just a building footprint. We're trying to create a little bit more of a dynamic shift, so I've given a little bit more leniency so that we can shift back and forward about 4 feet on the layout. So I think a majority of the driveways will actually have more of the depth that you're talking about. This is just, again, conceptual.
But
preliminary.
majority doesn't mean that one that doesn't have a 22-foot
Correct.
truck with a ball hitch on it that sticks out into the drive aisle.
Right. So, as far as I understand, within the city code, it's 10 by 20 is the requirement for the parking. So that's how we came to that. There is room to extend those driveways. So, for example, you have this side street parking down here, and you could probably get to that 24 feet or so on all the driveways within the land that's available. If you cut off the kind of the public parking. But part of the goal was to accommodate public parking. It's not required, but again, part of the objective was
So you're going to
that makes
have
it more
two,
comfortable.
so you'll have 2 stalls per unit?
Correct.
That's basically off-street parking.
Correct.
Can you even do that in? I don't know how, I didn't add this up. I'm just looking at these units, 5 units at 35 apiece. So yeah,
They're 22 feet wide, so
22 feet wide. Well, so that means there's cars the entire width of that building.
yes.
So there's really no drive aisle. I mean, you're basically hauling your groceries past a car, every single car.
Yes,
That sucks.
I agree.
It's legal, it sucks.
So part of the objective is to come in at a price point that does qualify for USDA, which we currently can even with a HOA, which allows that 0% down payment. And
How much is your HOA fee?
it should be in the area of $50 to $75 a month. It's basically covering garbage and the little bit of landscaping out front on.
And the drive aisles and everything, because that's going to have to be paid by, because these are not going to be public streets. They're too small.
Correct. Well, correct.
So I don't know if 75 is enough. It concerns me. That concerns me.
So we do have room in that. You can, so for perspective on the qualification on the mortgage, you need to make about, it does depend on the amount of children you have. So there's a kind of a mechanism to it, but you have to earn under $110,000 a year to qualify for USDA, which only allows you to purchase about a $350,000 house if you have
Sure.
no debts or anything there. So if we can hit the target about 270, what we're specifically hitting is those folks that are currently renting in an apartment or the townhomes across the street or other areas. They're able to qualify for that mortgage with no down payment, and it matches or is very close to the current. So while I understand there's significant downsides to some of the circumstances, they're not ideal. We would all prefer a bigger lot.
Well, I don't, well, the problem is, yeah, I'd love this to be an ideal scenario, but again, there's so many problems with this, I just can't even look at it and say, that's feasible. This is not feasible.
I guess that's where I'm confused,
Well, first, you have 20-foot driveways.
which is the
That's
code.
one way. That's not a two-way driveway. So you've got 2 houses that are driving in on a 20-foot driveway, and then they only have 20 feet to that driveway. That's barely one way. If you have 2 trucks sitting there, you're not going to get another truck through there. You've got two garbage bins that basically the garbage truck has to back out onto a public street, a busy public street. I think that's a bad idea. I don't even know if the garbage truck people will do that. I know they won't in some places I go with. They won't. They might go back into a community and neighborhood street, but they would never back into a public street like that.
Right.
Talking off of Richard?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they'll have to back all the way out into that street. It doesn't work. You've got driveways that don't allow through traffic. That doesn't work. You've got no gaps between your drive aisle and your fences. That doesn't work. I mean, these are just some of the things that don't work. The site doesn't work for how you've got it drawn. You probably can get through with the HOA, you can probably get through with some of these other things, but I don't see how this works. And,
Well, and then on top of that, you've got all your medical stuff, fire.
Fire EMS, yeah, have
all
they
that
looked at
stuff.
this? I don't even
That's
think
gonna
they would
be
approve
very,
this.
very, very difficult for them to
They can't navigate a 20-foot driveway.
navigate. And even coming through that little, from one place to that other one, I don't even know if they could do that.
Yeah, so I genuinely concerned to the point that I very much appreciate what you're trying to do, and I'm not trying to throw it under the bus, but I am trying to get something that actually is feasible before we sit here and say, yeah, go knock yourself out and try to make this work.
So I guess part of my question, in the feasibility, there's areas for adjustment. So for example, the 20-foot drives, is your concern on the northwest parcel. The garbage is not required. To me, it increases the standard of the neighborhood if you don't have cans and if you can do the garbage dumpsters.
Garbages are absolutely required. Where are you going to put them? You going to put them in front of the cars and make them park 3 more feet out? Because that's the only place they could go at that point.
Or along the side of the buildings, which is how it's currently situated at the Mojave Townhomes.
Okay.
So,
Do they have garbages or do
They
they
have cans.
They have cans.
and they're
Do they have
line
drive?
inside.
Do they have? They don't have garages.
They have a 1-car garage.
They have
Yeah,
a
they
one-car garage. Okay.
Yes.
Which is always full of junk anyway. So there's actually just a storage unit.
Yeah.
Which brings me to another question: where do people put their storage? Where do the kids put their bikes? Where do the kids put their tricycles? Where are the? I mean, you're stacking all the cars up there, and there's no place for anything else. And it concerns me a lot.
So I understand that. Part of this is, again, preliminary concept. If we don't end up at 28, if we end up less and you have to change dimensions, we're okay with that. I'm not attached to a specific layout floor plan that this has to be perfect. Our objective is, if it's amenable to the city, if the use of the land is appropriate, then I think in the planning and zoning section, we hash that out to get to something that meets all the requirements. So that was my expectation coming in, not that this was in some way permanent. I've added some leeway here. So for example, we're going to talk about this later rezone and the lot line adjustment.
Which I think is awesome. Again, I think it's great to include it all.
I've allotted about 129 feet on that. I haven't gotten the final the final plat map.
Okay.
I think I might end up with an extra 5 or 10 feet more than this. And so I just was trying to be conservative. So I guess I don't need to go too much further. My
Yeah.
expectation was preliminary and that we were staying within that parameter here.
You mentioned maybe an adjoining lot being involved. Are you talking about to the east?
To the north.
Well, that one is, okay. Oh, so no other
No.
No,
adjoining?
no.
Concept includes the adjoining.
It's from here to there.
Oh, I know. I thought he meant another one.
No.
Well, like I say, I have I mean, when you're talking about this kind of density, I don't feel like I can approve it until I see something that actually works. Because it is a lot of density. And then it doesn't come back to us. It doesn't, we don't get to see it again until basically it's done. And
Actually, you will.
We'll see the plat map.
You will get the plat map, the preliminary
I guess that's
plat.
true because they are for
It is a
sale
subdivision.
Yeah,
units.
and that was my expectation is it would go through that whole approval process where we refined that later.
Well, I am concerned.
I understand, and
So-
we're interested in addressing the concerns. We're not trying to force anything through that doesn't make sense. The objective truly is, if you can attain that kind of a price point, what you accomplish is people, I mean, if you look right now for sale in town, the cheapest finished house for sale is $395,000.
Right.
You need, if you have no debts, you need $115,000 a year in income and a significant down payment to qualify, and that is the very cheapest house. So
Yeah.
So I do understand the concerns. We're trying to address those in the design, but our objective is to come in where someone renting at that apartment for another $100 or $200 a month up the street could make this mortgage payment and qualify. And density is obviously a big control on that. So I recognize there are sacrifices, but a lot of these folks are living in an apartment that is smaller than what we're proposing here. They might have a swimming pool, but they don't have the appreciation and they don't have home ownership. And so we're trying to give people a yard. We're trying to give people a place that they can own. And so those are the considerations we're trying to fit.
Well, I mean, you've heard my concerns. I'm like I say, I can support the ideas. I just don't. I mean, I'm concerned that you're going to come into this and then not be able to make it work also. And I have to admit, I am going to throw it under the bus again if this came back something similar with a preliminary plat, because where do you put the people? Where do you put their stuff? How do you park this? I mean, I get that you want to do this, but it has to work.
Understood.
Any other comment?
All right, I've said my piece.
I agree with Commissioner Bradshaw, and just because you can fit that many units there doesn't mean you should, but I get that the price point changes every unit that goes away. Every square foot that becomes, yeah, it all changes when a unit goes away, but it doesn't mean stack everybody in there. But I do get that in order to even start this conversation, you need to say, hey, is this, am I spinning my wheels?
Yes.
And really, that's the question before the commission is this an appropriate place to put some townhomes?
Correct.
And I appreciate the concerns because it helps me know things to look at as preliminary plat comes in. Sketch plans come in, we can deal with them
Yeah.
before they get too much invested in it.
Anybody else have any comments? I will make a motion to recommend to the city to approve the zoning map amendment for parcels 40453-482 and 483B from RE1A residential and R120 single-family residential to RM multifamily residential. Vance, will you give us a roll call on this, please?
After you
Oh, do we have a second?
I'll make
Sorry.
a second.
We have a first by Commissioner Charles Bradshaw, second by Commissioner Barlow. Please give us a roll call.
Charles Bradshaw,
Yes.
Royal Barlow,
Yes.
Carl Pavlonis,
Yes.
Lee Highsteed,
Yes.
Mike Bradshaw.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item number 8, zoning map amendment for parcel 404-20038 from R120 to R18, single-family residential. Please go into the detail about this one, Vance, will you?
Okay, this is the strip along the east side of Hilldale Street from Mojave Avenue to Johnson Avenue. It's currently zoned R120. The developer is requesting that we change that to R18. And we do have the developer and engineer both here to answer questions. The only thing that staff is asking is that if we do make this change, that we put a stipulation that no lots are narrower than 70 feet on the street side of the lot. The reason they're asking for the R18 versus the R112 is there's like 3 or 4 lots that need to be 70 feet in order to make it work.
Yeah, these lots were huge. They're very shallow and very long on the street.
A lot of
right
square
now.
footage in them without a lot of street front.
And remember, this used to be public, or open space, and we rezoned it to R120.
Yes, a couple of years ago when we did the improvements along the street there.
One of the things that I was looking at when I was looking at it was, it is at the end of that street. So, I mean, it is kind of a dense population right there, but it is at the end of the street, and that street is going to tend to slow you down because you have to turn. And so, we've talked about before on this street, you know, how many accesses onto this street, because it is a major street, just like Richard Street is. And so how many driveways do we want on this street? Is it, but this is at the end of this street. And so it already is slowing you down when you're turning right there. And it's a fairly wide street also. That was the only thing that I was really caught my eye.
Certainly, Commissioner Bradshaw, has brought that up multiple times on a main collector driveways onto the main street, but I agree with Charles, at the end of the road there, you're slowing down anyway.
The traffic is only gonna be increasing as Watchman Point builds out.
But they won't be using that
They won't be
road.
using that, though.
If they're going up north to the school, that's
No.
exactly where they'll be going.
No,
Well,
because,
I mean, they will if they have to leave, so they'll get onto Mojave and then have to turn that corner.
yes.
Yeah.
So you will have, it already is pretty busy anyway. I mean, it's a major thing.
That's my biggest concern, is having all these driveways back out onto.
It's 11 driveways
Mm-hmm.
in less than 2 blocks.
And, you know, the public, that's one of their biggest concerns, is all the density and hazard, kids playing on the road.
So, does this only work at this zoning, at R18? Or is that just the preferred density?
It's the preferred density. My name's Thomas Timpson, by the way. Good evening, Commissioners. It's the preferred density. Basically, what we're looking at is with the current zoning at R120, then it's hard to create a lot, a half-acre lot that is really financially attainable for an entry-level homeowner. And so by allowing us to create more lots, we can get the price of the lots down to where they're just way more affordable. And there's a couple of things with the R120 zoning. First of all, with the R120 zoning, the minimum lot width is 75 feet, which we're actually willing to make that the minimum lot width for what we're doing. Rather than 70, we would just up it to 75 and make it work that way. And, you know, and then the average lot width along that road would actually be 100 feet by the time you take it all into account. So it's not like we just have it lined with lots that are 75 feet all the way down. And so I think that would help to reduce the feel that it's just a super dense area. Also, that road, you know, it's an 86-foot right-of-way. We have 50 feet of asphalt there. And so that's quite a bit for the amount of traffic that we're currently seeing. You know, the traffic definitely going to increase over the years, but, you know, I think it could still work pretty good.
Based on their concept here, they've got one road, one lot that's 70 foot wide on Hilldale Street. All the others are 75 to 100 plus. Then the other two that are 70 are actually on a Johnson, a little spur of Johnson.
Right. Yeah, and we can change that to make all those minimum of 75 feet if we need to.
Yeah, I personally think that 70, particularly on that one where you have 70 by 170, the ratio is getting out of my comfort zone. I don't really think that, I don't love lots with that type. I mean,
Super
I'd
deep.
love to see lots closer to the 1, 2, maybe 1, 2.5. After, when you get to 1, 3, it's just a junk pile back there, but, and there's worse ones. I mean, there's the old lots that are 1, 4, which are terrible. But you do have this one that's super long and shallow.
Yeah.
So that one concerns me quite a bit just because, you know, that's a lot of frontage for that dude to take care of. And who's going to do that? I mean, corner lots are I think corner lots, I mean, you don't get to choose who you sell them to, but this one is a big 200-foot long stretch that somebody has to maintain a lot of aesthetics for it to be beautiful. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? I'm not gonna beat you up over that. It's just my opinion.
Well, we could split it into 2 lots if you want, but I don't, the depth, I
Well, the
there-
depth is getting pretty
Build a
challenging.
14 by 14, 3 stories high. Well,
I mean, you know, this road, it does have a lot of traffic on it. A 75-foot wide frontage is pretty good. It certainly certainly makes it so that you're not popping a driveway out every 45 feet, which
Yeah.
is terrible. But I do think that I would much prefer to go to a 75-foot width on all of these. And look, and you have room, so there's plenty of space to do that. You might have to extend a manhole, but that's not the end of the world.
Yeah, we can make it work with the utilities, I think.
Do we
Well,
know,
that-
do we know if long-term this will be just curb and gutter, or are we incorporating sidewalk?
The developer will be required to put curb gutter and sidewalk on it.
Sidewalk.
Yes,
On all,
along that whole lane.
This
So-
whole length and then
Including
and
Johnson.
this one.
so does this, is the master plan of the city to maintain this as a hard 90? Will it be a cul-de-sac at Mojave and,
Mojave and Hilldale Street is already a curved, kind of a knuckle intersection with a drive going out into the reservoir area.
okay.
That's actually offset from the road, so you have to
Right.
actually make a conscious choice to go to it.
Go, okay. That's good.
It already is a knuckle type intersection.
The only other, and I don't, and this is just me being an engineer, is this drainage way going to be a problem if it leaks onto these yards, and how's that managed? Who manages that? Is it the cities?
Right now, most of that trench is owned by Short Creek Outdoors. They're responsible to maintain it.
Is it being utilized for drainage and,
There's actually 3 berms there. There's the canal that brings the water from one reservoir to the other, and then there's actually a flood control berm east of that.
For the water
So
coming
the
off
water
mountain.
coming off the east mountain
so?
gets to stop.
I do actually have a kind of a concern. I mean, this would be concern no matter what, but that is quite a bit higher than the neighboring lots. And my understanding is that the intent of that dirt road embankment is a future regional trail. Is that, how you gonna, have you thought about how you mitigate that from randos watching your pool?
Our pool party?
Yeah.
I guess we've got kind of accepted that we're just right next to the wilderness there in a way. And then they're building that bike park back there,
Sure.
or potentially building it. And we feel like that would be a really, actually in some ways, a great feature around this development, residential development, and vice versa.
So you'd have to add an 8-foot wall to really get it at the top of that wall. But then when somebody's on a bike, then that's, anyway, just thinking, what do you do with it otherwise? You could set it back, but it doesn't help anything.
Yeah, right now, I mean, that's definitely an issue we're going to have to look into. Right now, we're hoping to keep that berm pretty much as is. We don't necessarily want to touch that or do anything to compromise it.
Makes sense.
So it's definitely something we're going to have to consider. My understanding from the UEP, though, is that they're not necessarily planning to use that channel to transport water anymore.
It makes sense.
And if they,
Yeah, I can see that.
if they were to do it, they'd probably pipe it.
Okay.
But, you know, you still have the flooding.
Yeah, and the elevation difference, but
Yeah, the elevation difference. And I think in
This isn't
doing
the
it,
only
we would
place.
try to maintain the existing topography there for the lots as much as we could.
are you going to grade these as a finished, pad-ready lot, or are you planning on the homeowners purchasing that? And
We're planning to grade it out.
so you'll plan a full grading plan?
Yep.
Any other discussion?
Because of the elevation in the back, there may be some retaining, but I guess that's where you stop.
Yeah, we're aware that it might require some of that, but we're going to do what we can to maintain that grade in the back. So.
Okay. If there's no more discussion, we'll entertain a motion.
I will move that we send to the city council an approval for the zone map amendment of 3.4 acres, parcel 40420.038 to R18 with the stipulation that the lots are a minimum 75 feet.
Have a first by Commissioner Michael Bradshaw.
Second.
Have a second by Commissioner Carl Pavlonis. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Item number 9, excuse me. Zoning map amendment, parcel 40453-484 from RE1A to R112. And this is that other part of that lot,
Right, this is on
That's-
Richard
they
Street
were-
and Garden.
doing that one, so.
Right, and the owner wants to shrink that lot up to where the existing home just barely meets the required setback.
Okay.
And that still gives them a lot of yard
Yeah.
between there and Garden.
So is there
And
any
the back
discussion on?
half would be zoned RM as part of this other potential.
So the north would be R1A and
R112.
R112, and the other one would be RM.
The south half would be the RM and included ultimately in that future development.
Correct.
They'll have to do a line adjustment and all that stuff. but-
That's just engineering work.
Yeah, mechanics.
Is there any discussion on this one?
Nope, I think we had it.
Okay, if not, we will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion. We recommend to city council to approve the zoning map amendment for parcel 40453-484 from RE1A residential to R112 as discussed, and then the other partial at RM.
I'll second it.
So we have a first by Commissioner Steed, a second by Commissioner Barlow. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Item number 10, preliminary plat for Redstone Mesa.
This is a 12 lot, or 10, excuse me. Yes, Mr. Zitting's here, so it's his development along
because those-
Redwood.
Those other
Road.
three are separate.
And the zoning was done some time ago, and they've been working through the preliminary plat and are ready to have it considered.
I personally looked through it all, and I did not see anything that was really concerning to me.
Right, the only thing that's a variation from code is the width of Edson. Is that Edson?
The
The future
Is a-
road.
Yeah,
The future
45,
road.
which is what we're trying to go to anyway for the,
For the smaller, right,
right.
correct.
Which
That's something we've got to change in our code.
I'm hugely in favor of. But I do have some questions. First question is why is that a future road, and why aren't we finishing it to, at least to the end of those lots? How does that lot owner not, I mean, and then who pays for it later is my question, because how does that lot owner know what to build to and how to build and what cool things he has
There's a
adjacent
lot
to
of
him?
owners.
Sure.
Yeah.
So my name's Barbara Boss, and so the reason we're just doing the stub for now is just because that road isn't needed, and because of the cost of roads, there's no reason to put it in until it's needed. But we did add into the development agreement that we will finish that road when we extend that any further and develop the lots behind it, which will probably be phase 2. And so at that point, we would pull, because we're gonna need to pull the pipes further past the end of that future road so that we're not doing too many manholes. And it'll just save money not having to do that yet and doing it with our next phase.
So then you're inflicting that roadway development on the next lots, and that seems kind of, I mean, seems like these lots should fit that bill, or I don't know, I mean.
Or split it or something.
Yeah, typically, that's what we've been required to do in every other municipality, is finish the lots that you're trying to sell. Otherwise bond for it. So that if you guys bounced and left, the city could come and finish it. Otherwise, it's out.
Sure. Are you cool to bond for it, Al?
We're okay to finish it. Let's just build it.
Okay, let's finish it.
I think it makes a lot of sense, and then your owners know what's going on and have a confidence and a finished product.
Okay.
Yeah, and then there's,
Not thought of Commissioner Michael Bradshaw's point, that both those lot owners that have those corner lots, they're not gonna be able to landscape. You know, they're not gonna be able to finish their landscape,
And maybe they want a driveway there.
and a drive, and a back driveway, yeah.
That's a good point. So can we do a subject to, if you guys decide to approve this subject, to that change?
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah, I don't have a
cool.
problem with that.
Yeah.
We'll change it before it goes to city council.
So we've got, well, and this is more of a master planning question, and I know that you're only doing 10 lots. But are you sizing the utilities adequately for future?
That is our plan, yeah, because we plan to be the developer of the future one as well.
But this road, in my estimation, is a busy road. And so this one is one of those roads that I think ends up, if I'm putting my planner hat on, looking at the 10,000 foot view, I see Redwood Street as a busy road, because, I mean, to me, it's almost a belt route to the west of the community. Ultimately, you'll have to have a bridge on Redwood, but it actually makes logical sense to have a bridge on Redwood, because Centennial Park and cane beds and all those could ultimately detour around the highway and go through this, and this becomes a pretty major highway. Plus, we've got some developments coming up here later, some major residential and commercial developments, which also makes sense that this becomes a major corridor. So are we, how wide are your lots? I didn't pay attention.
They're 75 wide.
They're 75-ish.
They're all
Yeah,
75.
we talked about this during the rezone that, you guys probably remember because you did the rezone, but at that time, there was a discussion that if we went above 12,000 square feet, then we'd still be able to have driveways onto Redwood there. So we've got them all at 14. I think there's
14.
one at 13.8 or something like that, but they're all big lots, 75 feet apart.
And they're big lots. I mean, you're gonna have this isn't, so, I don't know, that's just one of my thoughts. But I do see this road being a collector down the road, so.
Yeah, and another discussion was that there would be probably eventually more than one lane, so people could pull out of their driveways onto the first lane while
Yeah.
other ones went by.
And there is plenty of width. It's
Yeah.
an 86-foot road, so they'll
Yeah.
be going 90 miles an hour past you anyway, so. But other concern, and I'm sure the engineers looked at this, but does this road tie into the lots to the west very well? I mean, it's hard to tell with the contours.
You mean with the overall master plan?
Well, I'm saying grading wise, what are you inflicting on the neighbors with the profile you have set?
Oh, got you. So,
West of Redwood.
oh,
Yeah, to the west.
west of Redwood.
The future lots on the west, whoever's developing that or working that, is there adequate slope? Are we cutting? Are we filling? Are we?
Oh, gotcha. So we're actually leaving Redwood right where it's at, height-wise, right? I mean, there's like the slightest few inches of change. You can see it on the cross section. So it won't
The grade
affect.
in Redwood's pretty much set with the sewer main in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not gonna vary from that much, unless you wanna move a lot of utilities.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
painful.
thanks.
Okay. My other, and you dealt with this quite a bit. Are you planning on? I guess from what I can see, you're planning on grading these pad ready. It looks like so.
Yeah, they're going to be
pad-ready lots.
walkout basements at the top. We're
I saw
trying to
that.
leave as much dirt where we can and still make them some nice walkout basements. And so we worked with Thomas quite a bit to work with the existing grade.
So there was some of these lots that were walkout, some of them weren't, and the ones that weren't have quite a bit of terrain left in them. How does the lot owner deal with that? I mean, I'm seeing this one that has.
Which lot number are you talking about?
It's lot number. The whole stretch from lot number, I'm gonna say 7 down to 10. Their backyards have 4 feet of fall in the back, and if it's pad ready, that's pretty painful to the lot owner. What do they do? Do they fill in? Do they cut? Do they?
Anywhere that there's enough drop, we're hoping to do walkout basements.
It doesn't look like there is, or maybe it just hasn't been completely vetted. I don't know. I get concerned when they're pad ready and then somebody has to bring in, it's got a 3% slope on it. What are you doing?
So is your concern, you're worried about them having to bring the backyard up? Oh, gotcha. So
Or cut
in
it.
the backyards, there's not enough for a walkout basement. The house I'm in right now, you come down the hill and then there's a slight few steps down to my walkout basement. So we were just kind of going with that concept that there would be a few steps from the lower existing grade to still do a walkout basement, but they'll come out to a slab and then walk up a few steps to get to grade.
Well, so for instance, on lot 10, there is, I'm just looking at this, the topo map, and it looks like, I don't know if these are these 5 foot, or are they 2 foot or 1 foot? Are these 2 foot contours or 1 foot?
They're 1 foot.
Okay. So there's 5 feet of elevation in 100 feet. That's 5%. You can't put anything on there. You can't put a pool on it. You can't put a sidewalk on it. You can't put, a garden. So somebody's going to have to come in there and do a ton of backyard work to get that.
To flatten it out after.
Yeah, to get
Well,
that.
and there's going to be excavation too from the basements. But do you
Yeah.
want to talk to that, Thomas? You're way better at the engineering side of it.
And again, I'm just looking at, how does the finished product look at that? And I'm not saying that this doesn't work and it can't work. I'm just looking at it as a practical sense.
Yeah, we're kind of thinking that each lot owner will make that decision as whether they want to spread it out and try and even it out and save some of the dirt from their basement and bring up the back a little, or leave it as a walkout and dig down a few steps.
Okay?
I think the idea was to create at least enough pad area so that you could go build a house. And then give the homeowner flexibility with what they want to do with their backyard. If they want to go out there and level it out and bring in some additional dirt, they can. But we felt like to create a level pad all the way back, that just introduces other challenges, and I don't think it's really necessary. But, the way it is, I think it gives the homeowner flexibility to do what they want.
And then with this, you're obviously going to have some kind of a drainage easement. Because this generally flows to the south. But where does it go? I mean, does it go onto other people's property? Does it go right to the creek bed? How do you get it there? You're building quite a bit of impervious surfaces, and these are small enough lots that they can absorb it. So there's not enough room to do like a detention basin or anything like that. So I'm just wondering how you would manage.
Our idea
The water.
was to,
Unless you're building a detention basin, which would make me happy.
well, the idea was to drain onto the remainder of the parcel.
Okay.
So that's the 5 acres. And then that part of the project will include stormwater detention and everything. And we would put it into that.
Capture this.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, what happens to it?
Goes out and waters that field.
Well, it doesn't, but it does it go down and,
So there's a natural drainage that already kind of comes down from even above us and drains through.
Yeah,
So we're
there is.
just kind of expecting it to flow over into that until we develop a storm drain system in the master plan out there. So for now, it'll be watering that field, a
yeah,
good thing.
it is concerning, but it's 8 lots or 10 lots, so the future people are going to have to deal with it, whoever that is.
Yeah.
So-
And in the meantime, we'll have a drainage easement, but then we will be
I see
doing a
that.
storm drain system through that development.
Okay.
Any other questions or concerns? Okay, we will,
Can I ask a quick one?
Yeah.
So what's the next stage in the overall project?
So we want
To the east from here or down off of Township?
we have to look at it, but we're kind of liking coming in behind these lots right now as the next phase, instead of, starting up on Township and coming down, so.
But we're gonna be bringing in a rezone for all the rest of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll consider a motion on this one.
I'll make motion to consider the preliminary plat, or to recommend the preliminary plat for the Redstone Mesa development to the town council.
We have a first by Commissioner Barlow.
Second.
We have a second by Commissioner Pavlonis. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Number 11.
I do have a quick question. Does that include the development agreement? I mean,
Yes.
it wasn't in
Here.
the motion, so so do we need to motion
Make that in the
include the
motion?
development agreement?
Yes, conditioned on the few minor changes.
So,
Sure. So do we need to accept it, or I guess the city council is really on the
City
hook for
council's
it?
the one that's gonna have to,
So maybe
approve
it's.
it.
yeah,
maybe
all
it's not-
all we need to do is just recommend that they consider it.
Okay, I'm cool. I got looking through it and I,
Okay, number 11. Consider preliminary plat for Barlow Parcel Residential Subdivision.
Okay, this is a preliminary plat for Lemoyne?
Lemoyne.
It's out on Redwood Road, it's north, and I believe he is here as well as his engineer. So I think it's a 10 lot.
All right, where is it?
so are these going to be pad-ready lots? Are they owner build, grade, you just grade the road?
Owner build?
So you're only planning to grade and install the road. The homeowner is on the hook to do all the lot development.
They're showing it. I'm Dale Wettenkamp with Rosenberg Associates. We have shown as a preliminary grading to have pads on those lots.
They're not on my plan. They're not graded.
We didn't get the full set of construction for
Yeah.
that particular parcel.
But they will be pad ready, basically, is what you're saying?
Yes.
So you're gonna flatten them off, or, I mean, it's pretty flat, so it isn't a ton of effort.
Yeah, just because of the adjacent lots to the
Neighbors.
south, it's gonna have to be graded.
So you've got a storm drain that just dumps out onto the adjacent property. Is there an existing easement or proposed easement? How does that work for?
So the one coming off the cul-de-sac there? Yeah, this was actually gonna be part of our, Jeff's,
This was originally going to be considered together with Today Properties, but partly at my request and partly at their need to move a little faster, they broke it out. So there are some utilities and stuff that ease through that other development to the east.
yeah, so I guess to answer your question, yeah, there would be, we just have that shown going out, and as part of the other project, you'll see some of those detention basins that we're gonna be.
Well, so that brings me to my really overarching question is, we've got this sets of subdivisions coming in, commercial and residential in this whole area. And what does happen with the drainage? Where is the detention? How does this actually work? Where does the water go? How much detention do you need, if any, and how much detention do the neighbors need? I mean, I know that it's separated out, but I mean, just like from the last one, you know, how are you dealing with these things in the future and as a combined set of entities? Because you're showing a pipe that goes onto the neighbors. How? Why?
Yeah.
And to what end? And how do the neighbors feel? And
It's,
is it being master planned?
it should be easier to see once we get into that other next project where those ponds are
Well-
and sizes.
It doesn't. I mean, I'm looking at the next one, and I know that I can see the yours is south of the next one, and I don't see how any of it fits together. I mean, not any of it, but
Most of them are all collecting off of the street, and then they're following existing swales down to that lower area where the pond's gonna be.
so I see. So there is a detention basin
Yeah,
above parcel 2.
would be to the southeast of this.
So this one would feed down to the one that's in the corner of Phase 3 basin.
But again,
Correct.
but who owns that? Do you maintain portions of that? Do you pay into an HOA that maintains that? How do you, when is it gonna be built? I
Well,
mean,
yeah, that's kind of the difficulty with this situation. Kind of doing an overall drainage plan on that plat. And then they're gonna go back and individually probably grade each parcel as they get their tenant in there.
So right now, does the same owner own all that property right there? Where the
To the
detention
east of
pond's
this?
gonna be built? Where the retention pond's gonna be built and all that stuff?
That'll be the Today property.
it is in the
Yeah.
next
Yeah.
plat.
Okay, well, the issue is if they sell that off, there's gotta be some kind of an agreement that that's gotta be built on that property. Because it's gotta be built, right? But if, in the future, that lot gets sold to someone else, we don't want them to be able to come back and say, you're not gonna build that here. Because now all of a sudden we got a water problem.
Mhm.
That makes sense? So, there's gotta be some kind of an agreement or something that's gotta be built on that piece of property there.
Right. It would make sense to me because otherwise you're being held hostage, potentially. They could basically say, yeah, we're not gonna accept your drainage anymore.
So part of the construction drawings and final plat would have to actually show that tie down to that drainage with a recorded easement.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it will.
And we can make that note in our
Mm-hmm.
recommendation, should we do that.
Um,
So that it is in there that has to be done.
Well, except for right now, the drainage goes through the corner lot that isn't owned by, that is not, unless there's a ditch that's built, the drainage inflicts parcel 1B, currently by the drainage ways, the natural drainage ways. And so it'd have to turn that corner to catch, so.
Just
Just-
stay on Today properties.
Or some kind of an easement would have to be formulated for that 1B parcel. Even if it were temporary. So those are concerns. So this is a 45-foot road. Which makes sense for these lots. How does this, I don't have a profile on this, so I don't have the depths, but is the sewer deep enough that you can backgrade this against it looks like the road is flowing to the
It's
east?
gonna be, yes, it does, but the sewer does flow.
To the
will
west.
Flow to the west, and I believe your
So you-
plan was to connect down over here to the west.
I think they're gonna go down and over to
Academy.
Cottonwood.
So it can backgrade, or what?
They'll tie back over to the main line at Cottonwood is what I believe.
On Cottonwood or on Redwood?
Cottonwood, there is no line in Redwood.
Right there?
It's gotta go over to Cottonwood.
Gotta go to the west.
Well, maybe it doesn't. Is there a storm drain?
Some of the original concepts had a sewer line going in there, but they've abandoned that.
Today properties has it on here.
And so,
One of their phases. Bring sewer west from Highway 389 to Township.
Yeah.
And I apologize for this is a bit incomplete because it was kind of a
Sewer west
last
to
minute
Arizona to
decision
the
there.
lots bordering Redwood.
So this, so I guess I don't understand where the sewer goes then.
it'll could drop to Redwood, come down Redwood, and then over on this road. I don't know, not sure what the name of it is. It's not Harker, it's south.
So the sewer is in Township.
Over. Well, there's a.
No. It turns the corner of, on, does the sewer turn the corner
I don't think that exists yet.
on
Right.
Harker?
They will have to extend a main line from Cottonwood over to Redwood and up.
Oh, I
the
see.
Subdivision.
So the main line is in Cottonwood.
Yes.
That's Academy Avenue, right, that goes across there?
Very likely is.
Yeah, so he'll go west to, I'm sorry, I'm looking at this map,
Yeah, that would
So-
be Academy.
Redwood Street, and then down to Academy, and then over. The
So-
sewer runs from Cottonwood straight to the south.
So is there existing sewer in Township? That goes past the property we just approved?
And,
Redwood?
there is a
Goes up to
manhole,
Redwood,
yes.
And goes
Yes.
up to Township?
It goes up to Township,
Okay.
then goes over to
That makes
Cottonwood and
sense.
up to the
Okay.
school,
All right, so,
Yeah.
but there is a gap there from Township north.
to Uzona.
Got it. Clear now.
That's been the source of a lot of discussion. And the developer of Today Properties basically walked away from Redwood and said they're gonna run all their stuff down. We'll get to that in a minute.
On Arizona. So they're just gonna push through on Arizona?
Well, no, it'll actually drop down to Township, down their new road.
Oh, really? Okay, so it'll
Yeah.
drop down on that Sandara?
But that's part of why we needed Mr. Barlow to pull his out and just run it as a
Because it's a separate-
standalone subdivision.
Separate
Not get bogged
subdivision.
down in this big.
So, all right, so I guess I need to ask the question again. Is there flow to, is your sewer deep enough to backflow to Cottonwood? Doesn't this flow, doesn't this generally trend?
According to Sunrise, because one
Mm-hmm.
of the thoughts was to try to put Redwood on the master plan.
Mm-hmm.
And they come back and they said that whole area will drain over to Cottonwood. So we don't need another backbone up Redwood.
I see, so
That was the original.
So we'll just,
plan.
so push over through Arizona, push over, or down to Township and then come back?
Well, this particular subdivision, the
Well-
Barlow parcel, will just go over to, down to Academy and over to Cottonwood and tie in there.
So now I get that.
Cottonwood runs down to Township.
Yes, I understand
Over to
that.
Redwood.
Yes, I see that. But now I'm concerned about the infrastructure in Redwood. Oh, it goes to Township and then over. Never mind. Okay.
There is none in Redwood
I'm,
at all.
North of Township, there is nothing in
North of
Redwood, as far as sewer goes.
all right. All right, let me. I mean, overall, I don't really have a problem with it. I just think that there may be some things that aren't really super clear, and I apologize that I don't have it clear in my mind. But, yeah, I don't, the information's not on this map that shows all of that, so.
Correct, and I've initially looked at it, and it appears that it will drain, no problem, but I did not get a chance to get all that in this plan.
Anything else?
Well, I mean, I have to rely on the engineer to say that it works, but I sure don't see it working very easy. 'Cause your subdivision is at 5,002. Cottonwood appears to be higher, quite a bit higher than that.
Does it show what the existing manhole invert elevation is? Is there a sewer master plan?
And again, you know, I'm not gonna, I mean, I think you'll figure it out, but that does concern me some. Well, I guess really my entire premise of this whole discussion is, I know Vince wants it out of, you know, that this whole property just feels like it should have been master planned and put together and assembled together. And I know that it's very difficult because you've got so many entities, but it just feels like the whole thing should have come together. It was bought together, purchased together, and I know that there were lender parcels and everybody was involved, and it frustrates me because now I'm wondering if it works. And so that's just my frustration on as a whole. You know, and I'm going to bring this up in the next one, you know, because where's the traffic studies? Where's the utility master plan, stormwater master plan? And I just don't see it. And I don't know how to manage that when we're trying to actually generate and build vested lots when I don't even know if they work. And that frustrates me. But that's not your problem. So, anyway.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, I will make a motion that for the city to consider preliminary plat for Barlow Parcel Residential Subdivision.
I'll second.
I need to add that they need to make sure that the drainage and all that stuff is included in their, whatever it is. I don't know how to word it, but you'll word it properly. So that it will be done in the future, no matter who owns that property. Okay? So we have a first and a second. First by Commissioner Charles Bradshaw, second by Commissioner Barlow. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Okay, number 12. Oh, that was number 12, sorry.
No, that
Well,
was,
that was number
Okay,
11.
so number 12 now.
Mm-hmm.
Consider preliminary plat for Today Property subdivision. Where is that one?
All the rest of this packet.
Yeah, so,
This.
there's one
Oh,
right
it's
after.
it's this one.
yeah, it's the rest of it, including development agreement and whatnot.
Okay, so that's the rest of this.
So I guess, you know, a lot of the same concerns, and this one maybe is a lot bigger in these scenarios because this is a commercial. This is there's one residential, the rest of it's commercial. What is that commercial? Is there a traffic study?
Yes,
Yes.
they have done a traffic study, and it's
Okay.
very comprehensive. They've done geological, or was that the correct term? Where you go dig the dirt?
Geotechnical work.
Geotechnical. And I do have those reports. You can make them available.
Okay, yeah, I would love to
Just
see
a
that.
lot of pages, so I
Yep, I
probably
agree.
should have just
I
linked them.
I would love to look through those, you know, and I love that there's a roundabout here, because I think that's what this intersection deserves. But does the traffic study warrant them paying into that, or is that a city issue? Because when you're bringing this much commercial on, it seems like the developer should be part and parcel of an intersection improvement on the highway. I would typically see that. And I don't know if that's the case. I don't know. The development agreement doesn't say anything about improving traffic or other than just what their roadways are. Building half of Redwood. I mean, when does the rest of it get built? Again, this is a commercial subdivision. I know that we can't force other people into giving up their property, but when you start throwing commercial traffic on roads, should we be building half? Or, I get it when it's a residential, commercial just brings an entire level. I guess if the traffic study warrants it or proves it out that half of a road works, then I probably don't have a lot to say. In the development agreement, I didn't see anything particularly about who owns and maintains the stormwater plans, the stormwater, and I don't see anywhere in the phasing where it happens. So when does the stormwater, when do these detention basins get built?
It's my understanding they're just gonna build these, well, they're gonna build the streets first, and then these detention basins will be put in at that time too. But then, once they start selling these lots and we find out what's gonna go on them for sure, each lot will have its own drainage study done.
Makes sense,
So,
and
yeah.
commercial sites should maintain their own detention basin to a great extent. I don't think it
And that was my understanding, is that these commercial lots would be responsible for their own drainage.
I think commercial lots
Detention.
generally should as well. But there's a bunch of detention basins shown, so I'm just curious how and what they do, and if they're future, permanent, how they're managed, who owns them. It's not really spelled out in the development agreement. And again, I think it is wise for commercial to maintain their own detention. And I suppose all these roads are going to be public, which would make sense.
Yes.
Which is awesome. Phasing. So there's a bunch of phasing. And so basically, your Phase 1A is utilities. And then what happens, which has happened before in other areas, where a developer just is like, I'm tired of doing this. I'm going to let it sit for 5 years or 20. And I've seen it happen, and basically you just have an open ground, and it's open. Nobody's maintaining it. It's Dust Bowl, and so I don't. So it concerns me that we're breaking it up and into not complete roads. I'll put it that way. Incomplete, unfinished product. That concerns me. I don't know how we can come in here and say, well, it's cool that you're just going to go dig up and put some utilities in and come back in 15 years. I don't think that's cool. Because I have seen projects sit for 20 years and they have just dust balls and they're an eyesore. And so that concerns me. So bringing up highway or sewer from Highway 89 to Township, and then bringing in sewer on Arizona Avenue, and then install asphalt on Sandara, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Sandara Drive, and then install in, so basically, you're not down and clear until 1E to where you're finishing curb, gutter, and sidewalk, and
And that's probably more of a question for the developer. I'm not 100% sure on his timeline, but yeah.
That concerns me.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Phase 1A should have a finished product, or at least 1B. I mean, I get that you got to install some backbone sewers and utilities, and I can appreciate that. Does that include grading Township? Because Township is not to grade, at least not complete. So would that include, doing a complete grading and or is that just a 20-foot utility corridor?
Yeah, I think,
I mean, it looks like, I guess they are never mind, they are grading it full width
that's
past
the
their
plan,
properties.
yeah.
So I can see that. But then when does Township get paved? I don't see it in any of these phases.
I kind of thought that was part of the
It's phase,
Sandara.
3, it looks like.
Phase 3.
Phase 3, basically, so it's 100 years down the road, or 20. And, you know, I don't think you should build asphalt in front of lots that aren't finished, so I'm not trying to design your whole project for you. But when does it happen? That concerns me. Is there some kind of bonding? And again, I think the other thing that does, there was a statement in here on this development agreement that said city will provide things, and I'm like, why? Why is the city providing things to a developer in their roadways? City needs to understand that they are part of the construction of this development. It says, city agrees to supply road base and set the grades of existing city roads. I don't think so. I mean, it's their job. It's the developer. Developer's improving this. I mean, they might need to set the grade I mean, but I don't know why the city's improving roads.
Well, they do have a stipulation in there. They are still in negotiations, so they haven't agreed to anything.
Yeah, well, that's just my 2 cents. I don't.
We need those 2 cents as to,
I've never seen a city participate in actual, I mean, that's not true. They do. Sometimes they'll build incentives into building some commercial areas, and so maybe that can be stipulated as an incentive, but it's not very common. Let's see, was that everything? Was that enough? Oh, one of the things that I did see in this, and Vance, you can help me out. There was a spot in here that said that the utilities are a 2-year warranty and asphalt is 1. Is that city standard?
we will double check that against our code, because I think our code speaks to both of those.
Okay. Yeah. Typically, I see them both 1 year, but again, I don't know if the city, I haven't worked enough in the city to understand what the requirements are for.
Right, I think it's 1 year, so
warranty.
we'll double check
Yeah, and
that against the code.
I don't think that developers should be held for more than the code says,
Right.
so. Well, those are some of my concerns. And, you know, with those concerns, I mean, I haven't read the traffic study and to know if this is adequate.
Yes, the traffic study actually accommodated either a light or the roundabout. They did it both ways, so.
Okay.
And then ADOT kind of forced the issue to the roundabout.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I understand that
Yeah.
that they did and why they did, and it's.
Right,
and it's-
so do I, now that they explained all their background reasons
Yeah.
instead of just giving us the finger.
Sure, and by the way, you know, this is my time to plug, because I am a big proponent of roundabouts. I think they're awesome. You know,
They're done right.
If they're done right, yes, and are big enough and be able to move enough traffic. I mean, there's some very good examples of some poor roundabouts in southern Utah, particularly the one down at exit 4.
Yeah.
Those are terrible roundabouts.
That's the problem, is most of our neighbors here think that's the one they most interact
Yeah.
with, and that's what they think of.
But
But
you
there's
know,
also some other very nice
there's
ones in
the
southern
ones in
Utah.
there's the one in Cameron. I think works very well.
You can shoot to that thing at 50 miles an hour.
I know it's
At least
huge.
I've been told that.
It's huge.
You can
And-
almost
The one
go
we-
straight through that.
The one we
so.
showed there, I believe, is modeled after one in Page, Arizona.
This one's the one in
One.
Page.
Yeah.
There's actually the one that I have seen that I really quite enjoy, and there's 6 of them, so I don't know why you'd enjoy it, but they're actually very functional. If you drive from through Verde Valley over to Cornville and
Cornville.
Cottonwood,
Yeah.
and they are fantastic roundabouts, and they
There's a
work
lot of them
very
out
well.
through there, and they flow real nice.
They do.
I drive them
And,
quite
and
often.
it is a highway very similar to this. In fact, it's probably a busier highway than this, and they do work very well. Roundabouts actually take intersection deaths to almost 0. That's awesome. the things that people,
And they calm traffic.
they calm traffic. You have to slow down. You can't run it. If you run it, you're going to get hurt, and so is somebody else. But people run lights all the time, and people get hurt and killed all the time. And not very many people get killed on roundabouts. There's a handful, but very, very low percentages of accidents result in injury or death on roundabouts. That's awesome. The other cool thing they do is they create an opportunity for somebody to slow down and go into your community and participate in the commerce in the community. Before that roundabout in Cameron was there, I drove for 4 years to Flagstaff. And I never stopped at Cameron. Since that roundabout's in, I stop probably 50% of the time at Cameron because I know I have to slow down anyway.
Right.
And so it's convenient. Anyway, those are some of my plugs for roundabout, and I think that this stretch of highway through this community would be very well encouraged. I think it's encouraging to me to see a roundabout on this plan. I think it will work very well to calm the traffic, and I get that, people have to be irritated when there's a houseboat driving through, but we have to be irritated when the houseboat's driving up Hurricane Hill, so it's really not that big a deal.
Yeah.
It's the same problem. That same houseboat that closed down the Page roundabout closes Hurricane Hill for a half an hour, not for 15 minutes.
Well, and that's part of why we modeled this one after the Pages, that those pieces of those houseboats come through here quite regularly.
Correct.
It's usually in the middle of the night, but they
Mhm.
do.
But they do, and they need to. So we get that. So, I am concerned about the phasing in the development agreement. I wish that we could have some completed roads and not leave things completely undone and in the commitment. Or, again, maybe some bonding, because I know that, I hate it when cities make you bond for extra things, but sometimes it's necessary. Just so that you have security, that it doesn't get left for
Right.
future city people to deal with. So that's probably my dissertation today, at least on this one.
Any other comment on this one? We'll entertain a motion on this one.
I recommend we send a recommendation to City Council for the preliminary plat for Today Property subdivision with the notes and comments. Also, a big stress on the phasing and the drainage.
I'll second it. We have a first by Commissioner Steed, second by Commissioner Charles Bradshaw. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Number 13, discussion only on preliminary plat of Wildflower. We're not voting on this, we're not motioning on
Right,
this, this is just a
the
discussion.
developer just requested a discussion only with the idea they'll probably be back at June or July cycle.
Good.
This,
Well, not good.
this one has gone through several iterations.
Has it?
Yes. We did approve a preliminary plat for a much smaller development several years ago, which they never pursued through.
Which was over by Reservoir Acres, correct?
No.
No,
Same
This
properties?
is-
This is from
Same-
Barlow
same
University.
Oh,
This is north, well, this is east
Oh,
of
this is
Hilldale Street
Wildflower. This is
between the
okay,
cemetery.
this is the one up by the up by,
Between the cemetery and
Okay.
Academy Avenue.
yeah, I know exactly where it is.
And
Yeah.
I believe Thomas is here and I think Isaiah, both representing that development.
Good. I do have some major concerns. Well, not major, some comments. My first comment is this one, do we have the opportunity to reduce substantially the University Avenue? And I see that you've got some properties taken out of it, but should,
We-
this road ends another 600 feet.
Yeah, it's currently 86 feet, and we're proposing to reduce it to 66.
I have, yes, and I have put into the utilities to let me know exactly where the utilities are in that road.
And the same thing on Memorial Street. It, again, terminates 600
Right.
feet away.
And so if the room is there, we will, it's up to the city council, of course, but I
Sure.
think most of them are in favor of shrinking some of these roads. But we have to make sure we're not compromising our utilities.
But I do have some of the same concerns on this one as the other ones, as far as drainage is concerned. How are you managing drainage on this? I mean, with this size of lots, you're basically 75% hardscape, or, impermeable surfaces. What are you doing with that? Where does it go?
What we're currently planning right now, because this project is kind of split at University, where half the water goes south along Hilldale Street and kind of runs down Township. And then the north half runs down Hilldale Street and goes down to the creek. And so one of the things we're trying to do with this project is actually redirect the south half and send it north so that it can get to the creek faster. And so what we would like to do with this is actually not do any detention, send all the water down to the creek as fast as possible, and then take any monies that would be spent to detention and help improve the infrastructure along Hilldale Street down to the creek.
So north. So you're saying it's going to go north and clean up there in front of the Colley place, which and
Academy.
and cross over Academy to get down along Hilldale Street. Is that your kind of intent?
One challenge we run into with that soil there is the native soil is very impervious. And so our engineers, in reviewing the initial plat, basically ruled out any kind of underground percolation.
Sure.
They said unless we wanted to destroy Hilldale Street.
No, and we don't. I mean, but slowing, detention basins and metering it out
Right.
is what I was talking about. But if there is an appetite for improved development to the north of this, that assists in the entirety of this area,
We
I think
would need
that-
to have some way to make sure it got clear down to the creek without an
Correct.
erosion
without
issue.
erosion.
So it's either got to get past Academy and drop into a pipe.
So it might have to have a pipe
something.
or a culvert or something across Academy and some ditch or open ditch or pipes to continue it down, so.
Yeah,
I favor that. I actually think that's a good trade-off if the city's up to that.
we need to definitely work out some details with the city, because, I mean,
Generally, the city is in favor of that because of the nature of the soil there. We don't really want water standing on it. No, but the details. have to-
we've got to work through some of the
And
details on that.
township, we want to minimize any flow onto township because it already
Yeah, it's already
is
inundated.
gets overloaded really.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, to send all that water down to Central
Actually,
Street.
our
and-
plan would help alleviate that because it would take some of what's running off that field.
Catch some of that other
Shoot it the
stuff to
other
the
way.
east. Mm-hmm.
One, it currently
If the
ponds a little bit
engineering
to the
makes-
south.
So, okay, that's awesome. So we're adding 50 some odd, and these are single family, so that's awesome, but again, when you start putting neighborhoods, 7,000 square foot lots in here, where do the kids go? Where's their park? What do they do? I mean, when I was a kid, I played on the street, but there was 12 of us, and not 55.
No, there was 12 from each family.
Well, yeah, but that's a different problem. There's only 12 houses.
Well, you do have Cottonwood Park right down the street. They're building
You've
that
also-
city center.
Right, then you've also got the UEP's putting in ball fields just to the north of Academy.
So, okay, as part of that discussion then, is there a way to keep people off of the road, put in, I don't see any curb and gutter and asphalt being built along Hilldale, but maybe I'm just missing it.
It will have to be.
Okay.
I don't know what's in your submittal. We've got preliminary construction drawings for all this. I don't know if
Okay.
you're seeing
Yeah,
that or not.
It's just a preliminary plat.
But yeah, right now, we're proposing, and we're still working out, negotiating the details with the city, but we're planning to improve curb gutter sidewalk along Hilldale Street and potentially continue that north around Colley's there.
We're
And
hoping to
connect
get
with,
concrete
Academy.
across Academy.
Yeah, basically,
Okay, well, and that would be nice, because then you have a pedestrian way into some of these areas, out to Cottonwood Park and to these UEP fields, et cetera, so I
Yeah,
think
right.
I think that would be, that to me, if you did some of that, then I would call that amenity, as opposed to a neighborhood park, because you're right, it is within proximity, but you can't just, again, put these 8 and 10-year-old kids like we did back in the day, but that's a different problem.
They could always go play.
You
Well-
survived, come on.
well, and the owner definitely wanted to incorporate sidewalks. He was even talking about potentially doing a trail.
A trail. I think
But
it'd be
we've got
awesome.
lots of sidewalks that goes all the way around the block.
Well, and I think Hilldale Street
it
is a
connects
great
with the city.
opportunity for a regional trail system. It is cohesive all the way up to Maxwell Park and those things.
Yep.
I think it would be pretty nice to incorporate some of these trail elements along Hilldale.
Yeah. Well,
So-
and the UEP, I don't know if it's ever going to happen or not, but they want to build the actual shared use path up there along the spillway,
Right.
like we were talking earlier, which is just right down the street.
Yes, and I think that, again, awesome, but that doesn't get these guys to the park. A trail would.
Yeah.
I think ultimately a trail system along Hilldale Street makes a ton of sense to get people from Bees all the way up to Maxwell. I think
That'd be sweet.
that's a great corridor. Okay, couple of other things. So I see, and some of these corner lots are super small, and I just wonder, I mean, particularly the one that I saw that was really suspect is Lot 54. It's basically got a 55-foot width with a 15-foot setback on all sides, and I don't know how you put a house there.
Right next to the cemetery.
On Memorial Street. What kind of houses are these? And same thing over here, Lot 62, on, next to Street Center Line. I mean, it's got a 29-foot tangent into the curve there. And, how does that work for a house? This seems mighty tight, maybe, for those corner lots.
Well, the minimum setback off the street, I mean, we do have that easement there, and maybe we should see if we can reduce that easement, but usually the minimum building setback would be 10, and then 5 on the other side. So that would potentially give you about a 40-foot wide house.
But not typically on street frontage, though.
If it's the side street,
Is it
then
is it still 10?
you could go 10, yeah.
These are
Actually, in this zone,
R2, and they do allow shorter
They allow for a
setbacks.
10 on the street side, if it's not a garage?
Don't think so. I know on the sides they're a lot smaller than the back.
actually.
Well, in the rear and the sides, no problem, but I'm saying on the street side, where you've got a street that's not that isn't the it isn't the garage side particularly, potentially, but it still does have a street setback. And I don't know if it's 10 or 15. A lot of times they're 15. I don't know what this.
I'd have to look that one up. 'Cause the R2 is different than our others.
Right.
So R2, if it's single-family detached, then the side setback is 5.
But not on against a road.
If it's for all corner lots adjacent to public right-of-way, the minimum street side setback shall be 10 feet.
It's 10, okay, so it can be,
So if it's a corner lot, street side, 10 feet minimum.
as long as you don't have a garage there.
Yeah, you're not going to want to
Because you have to have your
with the
garage, your
entry.
garage setback is still 20,
Yeah,
which,
yeah. So you'd want to keep the garage on the short side of
based
it.
on my last conversation, I think we maybe should want to increase that, but that's a different problem. And it's not as big a deal if you're just extending out into the sidewalk. It sucks, but it's actually not where you're driving, where you're trying to drive through. St. George actually changed theirs, that their garage is 15 feet from right-of-way.
A lot of those,
Or
especially.
25 feet from right-of-way. They recently changed it. And so if you have a garage, it's 25 feet from right-of-way to face a garage.
From like 25 feet from the right-of-way. Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
And that's because these trucks are just so much bigger.
Well, we could potentially make some of these corner lots wider, I think. There's some flexibility there.
I would look at it. Are these going to be manufactured homes or are they stick-built? Or are you just going to, so you're basically offering a stick-built product? Okay, cool.
Actually, one NRCC nurse to not have manufactured homes.
No manufactured homes, so probably 1 and 2 story homes, mostly. Which brings me to my real ultimate question, is this where we want 7,000 square foot lots?
Well, I guess part of that
The
is...
zoning was
the-
approved with
yeah.
a mixed concept of,
More
that-
density than that. I've been here long
We
enough
pushed
to
it out there
know.
because it was so far out, and there's nothing up there that's even remotely
I guess
like this.
if the neighbors don't have a major issue, I mean, but I do have a concern though, because there is an historical commercial property to the east. So how does that gonna go right down University and interrupt that? I don't know what they do there. I'm just looking at it online and I see this, it's a massive yard.
Well, there's a school up there right now,
Yeah, this,
and I don't know what's adjacent to that.
to the east of it is
up
some.
where the Nybergs had their sawmill and stuff, somebody's running a trucking company. I see trucks come in and out periodically.
that
They're
kinda
usually empty on the weekends.
What kind of concerns me as far as, are we going to continue to permit commercial uses to the east there? I don't,
We would, long-term, we would like to phase them out.
okay. I
They
think
were
it's smart.
pre-existing to any of our
It's sure.
zoning.
I
So,
understand
the zoning for that was from pre-existing, what
Yeah.
it was being used
Pre-existing use.
for as, at the time.
Used to be the
Yeah, it
appliance graveyard. and-
used to be the sawmill, used to be a lot of things.
Used to be the dump, used to
Yes,
be
it
everything.
did. So those are, let's see. And I assume these are going to be pad-ready lots. I did have a question. With this small of a product and lot, do you have enough, is the grade shallow enough to manage elevations between lots to where you don't have to have retaining walls or sloped in and usurping too much of the side yard to where you can't build a house in some places? And like I say, I don't have any grading plans or designs in front of me, so I'm just, but it does concern me. When you have a 50-foot front lot, you don't get a lot of, there's no wiggle room in your grading.
Yeah, and we did provide a preliminary grading plan, but generally speaking, lot to lot, we don't want to do any retaining walls. There's a few instances where we do have it, but towards the boundary of the project, we might have some retaining, but 3 or 4 feet.
And then is the city okay with deleting that roundabout or the cul-de-sac at the end of Memorial Street where it enters into the cemetery?
Yes, ultimately, the governing body's gonna have to answer that question, but
But staff is okay with it?
staff is okay with it, because there is a path that goes through the cemetery and over to
And the
township.
other one is big enough to the east if it's a problem. It's not, it's plenty
Well,
big.
We're
As far
also
as-
adding that new street,
Right, you've
and
also,
so the distance from that street to the end of that road would be less than 150 feet,
Makes sense. Okay, well, those were my discussion points.
Sweet, thank you for your input.
Is I've been here long enough to remember the other plans that were approved. A lot of them were mixed use, well, not really mixed use, townhomes on some portions of it and single family on other portions.
So, when we were doing the original zoning, when we zoned it to R2, then our initial concept was showing like a mix of townhouses with detached single family. but the developer has decided to just stick with single-family detached, so no
I'm a
townhomes.
bigger fan of, especially in that area.
Yeah, me too.
And then did the original Cross Academy to the north for a couple of lots, or am I mixing?
No, not Academy. The original Wildflower subdivision was just the north half of this subdivision. So
It
everything
went from
north of
University
University.
to Academy.
Yeah,
And
from
then they
University.
combined another one later, if my memory
Yes.
serves.
Right.
So I have a general question, just for info, I guess, not necessarily tied with this, but I've heard that part of the annexation issues surround a limited number of utilities, of sewer, being allowed by Hilldale to Centennial Park. Is that true?
They're in discussion on how to address those concerns.
Okay,
And
but
I'm
do-
not prepared to get into the details of it by any means here.
Right, but do we come under the same, because we're adding.
Well, that's why we're in the middle of a wastewater master plan update
Mm-hmm.
right now.
Well, and actually, to that end, I mean, obviously, so I assume the sewer will flow down University Avenue, is that correct?
Yes, we're adding a sewer main. There's an existing sewer manhole right there at the intersection of University and Hilldale Street. So we're tying in there, and that's going to service the entire subdivision.
So you're able to get flow to go north and south, obviously.
Yeah, yeah, and with our preliminary construction drawings, we showed the proposed centerline profile of the street with the sewer and everything, so it checks out pretty good.
Cool.
And then there's also sewer in Academy, if we needed to tie into that. Actually, there's sewer in Academy and Memorial.
Well, and you'd have to, I mean, that is a concern as far as, is 58 lots, does the infrastructure in University Avenue, can it sustain that? And so hopefully you can check that out downstream.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 58 lots, I assume it does, but I don't know how many is on it downstream, so I can't speak to it.
Yeah, we'll run some numbers on that and just see how we're impacting that, but ultimately, I mean, I guess it's kind of up to the city we're working with Jerry right now on those questions on making sure we have the assurance for that capacity and everything, so.
Cool.
Anything else?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we will move on to agenda item number 14.
Okay, the next regular meeting is scheduled for Monday, June 1st. There's really nothing else to add at this point, other than just keep in mind the APA conference, which is close enough to almost be worth going to.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Flagstaff gets my pulse rate up a lot funner than Sierra Vista does.
Yeah, it is a much nicer and closer. Last time I went, it was
So
Tucson.
June
That was a long
1st?
way.
Yeah. Tucson's a long ways. Sierra Vista's
No, it's
another 90
November.
miles.
Oh, you're saying the next meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah, the next meeting is June 1st.
When is the APA conference?
It's
November.
November, middle of November?
November 4th and 5th.
Oh, so it's first of
So
November.
it's the first week in November, basically.
What days are those?
I have no idea without looking at my calendar.
When would we need to?
It's Wednesday, Thursday.
Is it?
I would suppose they'll open up registration probably somewhere in August.
Where is it being held?
Flag.
I am guessing it's
which-
going to be at the North.
NAU Conference Centers?
Yeah, whatever that thing's called, High Country Conference.
Dunbury Hall or whatever it is? That's probably what it is, Dunbury. Probably
There
there.
by the Drury Inn.
Drury Inn, yeah.
I'd imagine that's where it was. The first time I went to one, it was there
Okay.
a few years ago.
Okay, if there is nothing else, we will call this meeting adjourned at 6:49.
All right.
Actually, that sucked.